Hey everybody! Today's topic is a big one. It's one of the most important fundamentals that I've learned in reclaiming control of my own life and something I wish someone had taught me a lot sooner. Most of my life, I didn't feel like the main character. I felt like I was surviving a story that someone else was writing. One where I was constantly trying to keep the peace, avoid conflict, and explain my feelings in ways that always somehow got twisted. It's taken me 36 years to understand what safe relationships actually look like, whether it's work, family, or your friendships. Today we're going to talk about DARVO. It's an acronym that helps you identify when you're being manipulated, essentially. And once you learn how to spot it, I promise you, your life will shift. You'll recognize it in conversations that you've had with people in the past where things went sideways, fights you were blamed for, and work environments that felt toxic, but you couldn't exactly figure out why because you were in such a fog. If you are someone who is highly empathetic and avoids conflict like I used to, or just tries really hard to be kind, there's a good chance people have used this DARVO tactic on you. I'll tell you what it stands for in a second, but it's probably made you question your reality, your tone, why you came across the wrong way when you were trying so hard to get the person to understand you. And it's probably made you question whether you're worthy or not of having boundaries. It's probably caused you to question your worth. If you've ever had moments where you've tried to advocate for yourself and it ended in you feeling shame, or if it ended in an argument, you were likely DARVO'd hard, but you didn't know it. This episode is all about giving you the language and helping you reclaim your power and giving you clarity to move forward in this life as the main character and how to make sure you don't allow people to treat you this way. Because from now on, you get to decide who gets access to you. So let's get into it. DARVO is a manipulation tactic often used by people who are emotionally immature. And they can't handle being confronted by the very true thing that they did. It stands for deny, attack, reverse, victim, and offender. Now that's a lot, but basically it's what happens when you bring up a valid issue, they flip the script, and now somehow you're the bad guy or girl. And it sucks. It feels really, really bad. People who do this often do it subconsciously. It's a survival tactic from their childhood. Someone did it to them and taught it to them, but it's a trained defense mechanism rooted in their own fragility and a way for them to maintain power over you and the relationship dynamics that you both have. Once you start believing in yourself or wanting a better life for yourself or finding your values, finding your boundaries, learning new ways to say, hey, I didn't like that. Please stop. People who are used to you just taking it and taking it and taking it, they're not going to like that suddenly you have the ability to dust your knees off and stand up for yourself to them. But it's not about you. That's important to remember. It's about them not being willing to look in the mirror or take feedback. And that's not healthy. An example of DARVO would be if you said to a boss or a coworker, let's use a work example. If you said to them after a meeting, hey, it really hurt me when you dismissed my idea in front of the team. Their response would be something like, oh, that's not what I meant. Or, oh, you're being too sensitive. Oh, don't take it that way. That is your first indication, blinking red light that you are about to be DARVO'd. Pay attention. Stay in your body, which means your heart might start to race because they're denying your reality and your lived experience. And that's not okay. So they would do something to deny that that's what happened, okay? That's not even what I meant. And you say, well, that's how it felt to me, and I want to talk about it. This is where it's like you're ticking up a roller coaster, tick, 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 and now you're about to go into the biggest, wildest loop-de-loop series of a roller coaster ride, and it feels like you don't have a seatbelt on and you got to hang on for dear life. Because they will realize that you're holding your ground. And this is where we get into accuse, reverse, victim, offend. So they'll say something like, oh, wow, so I'm the villain again. I was just being honest. Or you always twist everything that I say. I guess I can't say anything around you anymore without being attacked. And then they bring up all these other completely unrelated things like, well, what about that project recently where you missed a deadline and I got in trouble? After everything I've done for you, after every time I've stood up for you, this is not that big of a deal. You keep canceling coffee with me. That hurts me too. They'll bring up all these other unrelated things that become a barrage attack of things that you might not have even known were an issue. They'll start just grabbing at things to shove it in your face and say, you're bad too. In fact, you're worse. How dare you hold me accountable? And then what happens next is you feel guilty and ashamed and a little unsure and embarrassed maybe, but you're unsure of if you should have even spoken up in the first place. For me in the past, it's been like, okay, I hate conflict. I grew up in a household where you did not question authority or you got in major scary trouble by dad or mom. And it was the 90s. That's how we were raised. There was, physical consequences if you spoke up, or you'd be sent to your room to be made to feel wrong or bad for having feelings. That didn't teach me to have healthy boundaries as an adult or to be curious about why something was happening the way that it was. So in the past, when this has happened to me, when I get DARVO'd, my fight or flight kicks in, my heart starts racing, my thoughts get confused and tangled up, and I either get angry right back, depending on how long I've known the person, or I shrink down and I freeze and possibly even slip into a flight response where it's like, okay, you know what? You're right. Never mind. How dare I feel bad? Because I just couldn't handle feeling misunderstood or feeling like I was going to lose the relationship that felt like a key relationship. Now today, fast forward, I'm not advocating that you need to go do this, but I've gone no contact with 2 family systems, the one I was born into and the one I married into, because I was looking for relationships where we communicate in a healthy way. DARVO was the foundation of both those family systems, and I couldn't take it anymore. So I'm very isolated and alone right now, waiting for my new people to come and going out and living my life with my new rule of nobody's allowed to tell you that your feelings are wrong or bad. That's a very simple measuring stick. Might sound like a episode of Barney or Mr. Rogers. No one's allowed to tell you that your feelings are wrong or bad, okay? Great, have a nice day. No, but seriously? Your relationships, the people who have access to you, when you have something to bring up that is how they made you feel, you want to bring up your feelings around something they did. If you are not met with anything other than curiosity, it's not a healthy relationship. Healthy responses to you bringing up a concern are statements like, I didn't realize I hurt you. Thank you for telling me. Let's talk about it. Or I need a minute to process this, but I want to understand, so let's talk about it. Or if they need to say, like, give me a day or two and then I want to talk about it. That's healthy too. People are allowed to take their time. Or if someone says, I didn't mean it that way, but I can see now how it landed that way and that wasn't my intention. So of course, let's talk about it. But you never want to be met with, that's not what I meant. Hard stop. That's unhealthy. Or even just like the golden response is, I'm sorry I hurt you. Let's talk about it. That's just like, duh. Think about the people in your life right now, whether it's your spouse or your boss, your coworkers, your neighbors, your mom, your sister, your friend. Think about if you are able, first of all, to bring up your emotions when they treat you a certain way or make you feel a certain way. Are you able to tell them? And do they meet you with any of these responses? Or do you tend to not bring things up because this has been your lived reality in the past where you are made to feel like you are the problem? And how dare you challenge my way of thinking or being or acting? How dare you have hurt feelings for the very real thing I did? Let me bring up all these unrelated things that you've done in the past. It's like, hold on. Who in your life has done this to you? Again, it is not easy to go no contact. I still grieve those relationships because I loved those people, but it wasn't healthy for me and I couldn't think straight when they were integrated into my daily life. They confused me. They left me feeling misunderstood and hurt, and I didn't want this life to be like that for me, and especially for my kids They needed a stable mother who could hold her ground and love herself enough to say, this doesn't serve me. And I want my kids to witness me being spoken to appropriately and respectfully. And I think that's a very basic thing to create for yourself in this life. So I'm not saying please go no contact with absolutely everyone who's done this to you, but I do want you to pay attention to and feel like you can bring up your feelings to someone the next time something feels off, and just see what happens. For me, I've had to end a few friendships recently too, because things have happened and I'm like, hey, I don't love this. Let's talk about it. And right out the gate, it's, oh, you're being too sensitive. And for me, in my experience, I haven't been able to magically get someone to get it. Like, oh, Christy, thank you for bringing up DARVO. I even with a friend, this person DARVO'd the heck out of me, and the whole time I was like, really? Shoot, you too? I even went so far as to find articles, and I said, this is a DARVO response and it's unhealthy. Like, I went a level deeper, and they stood their ground even more, and it was just a standoff that I just walked away from, because I was like, I can't get you to get this overnight. It's also not my job to teach you how to communicate respectfully. And if you're not curious at all about how you made me feel, if you're not going to meet me with curiosity to my lived experience of this relationship with you and what just happened, then I have to walk away, because I don't have time to teach you. I've got kids to raise. I'm running a business. I'm rebuilding my life. If this works for you, that's great, but this doesn't work for me, and this is not how I let people treat me anymore, so I release you with light and love. Ooh, I've had to release a lot of people with light and love, but it's worth it because I have peace. So I'll leave you with this. If you are having a DARVO response unfold in real time, it would be nice to know some statements you can have, or just some best practices for how to respond to a DARVO situation. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with that. So when you're first met with the D of deny, that's not what I meant. Oh, you're being too sensitive. Oh, it's no big deal. Pause, because that's part of the trap. You want to stay grounded in your original message. So saying something like, okay, I'm not here to attack you. I brought this up because the moment hurt me and I deserve to get to talk about it. It's the funniest thing, you guys. When you start to use different language, people who are used to you being a certain way will be like, you've changed. I've had people say, what is wrong with you right now? Or ever since you've been to therapy, you're different now and it's not good. Or I had someone I loved very much say, I think you've been reading way too many self-help books. And it's like, yeah, because think about what you just told me I'm not allowed to do. All I just said was, that moment hurt me and I deserve to talk about it. And you're telling me that I'm selfish or bad for that? That's a huge red flag. You want to name the pattern if you're feeling safe to do so. So you could say out loud what they're doing. Get to the fundamentals. You say, when they get to the reverse victim and offender part, you say, hey, you're flipping this around on me like I'm the aggressor when I'm the one who was hurt. And that's not okay. Again, isn't that true? But does that feel scary for you to say to people that you love? If that causes someone to go into a tailspin, they are trying to manipulate you. They are used to you being so easily manipulated, and there's nothing wrong with you. But this can't continue to happen to you if you're going to have a fulfilling life with people who are surrounded by you, who earned their seat at your table. You get to decide who gets access to you. If you saying you're flipping this around like I'm the aggressor and I'm the one who was hurt and that's not okay, that's a very basic thing to say. If they lose their mind over that, please reconsider if that person is someone who needs to be in your life. Now, I'm divorced. I know it's tricky when you have kids, when you rely on certain people and you have a certain housing situation and you share finances. I'm not saying go run out and get divorced. But I do want you in this life to feel like the people in your life care about you. And nobody's perfect. Oh, I've had that thrown in my face too. Well, nobody's perfect. You're being too hard on me, or you're being too hard on them. No, of course nobody's perfect. But if I'm not met with curiosity at how you made me feel, then this relationship is unhealthy. It's so simple, but that doesn't make it easy, right? And if things are just really spinning out of control, because once you present the truth to the person who is manipulating you, and they are losing their mind, and it's just the truth, you're like, you really got to love yourself for this. If it's your feelings are your body's way of keeping you safe. It's your ego saying, we deserve better than this. This is not okay. If you are presenting your truth and someone is losing their mind over the audacity, which is like, how dare you stand up for yourself? You need to exit. And you do that by saying, I'm not going to keep having conversations where I get blamed for expressing my feelings. And just leave it at that. And if they keep attacking you, friend, this relationship is very unhealthy, and I want more for you, and I know you want more for you, and maybe deep down that's part of the dull ache of what's wrong with me. I'm in such a fog. I'm sleepwalking through this life. I hate this job. I hate this daily routine. It might be because someone is in your life who has very close, precious access to you, and you are a good person, and they are just kind of leeching off your goodness. And I want more for you. If you don't want more for you in this moment, I want more for you. I maybe needed someone to say that to me, and there was no one to say it. So I'll say it. You deserve to be able to tell someone that your feelings are a certain way, and they don't tell you that that's wrong or bad. Nobody's allowed to tell you that your feelings are wrong or bad. And if they do, I hope you reconsider what this person means to you, what purpose do they serve, and why are you so attached? This is a much deeper discussion. Thank God we have such access to therapy, and the stigma is starting to go away, because DARVO was slowly killing me. The people, at this point, it's in like the 40s, the amount of people and friendships that have had to fall away since I got divorced. I'll just leave you with this last rant. Once I decided to get divorced, which was not an easy decision, it was not. But it was the right decision for me, and to model to my kids how I'm treated, because they will model their lives the same. My son will figure out how to speak to women in a certain way, and my daughter will hold her ground and be like, no, because subconsciously she watched me have healthy interactions. Once you find one chink in the armor, divorce is a big implosion. But it becomes easier and easier to see all the other people that were treating you the same way. And for me in this life, this is not the life where I play small. And it's been so much growth, so much beautiful, beautiful growth, but many kind of dark nights of the soul. That'll be another episode where I have thought, like, why is everybody falling away? Why is it so hard for everyone to meet me where I'm at and just be good to me because I want to be good to them? And it's just the simple fact that the systems that you were born into and the relationships that you chose were based off of how your childhood made you feel. And once you start to choose yourself, everything kind of has to fall away that wasn't in alignment. But new people will come in, I promise you. This is work that's worth doing if you want your life to feel like it's yours. But initially, once you start to learn these fundamentals and notice things like DARVO, you will see how many people use it on you because you're a good person. But being a good person doesn't mean everybody gets to have access to use and abuse you and trample all over you and treat you like a doormat and make you feel like you're the problem in their interactions with you that are very unhealthy. But it is like being caught in an undertow when it's so many people and you're just used to being treated this way. It takes a lot of self-love and self-care and patience with yourself, and feeling your own emotions. I was so good at suppressing my emotions. I only recently learned how to cry. And now that I know how to cry, it's like I can't stop, but it's very healthy, cathartic. I don't cry all the time, but sometimes when I'm crying, I'm like, oh my God, I'm feeling things because I'm standing up for myself. And you can grieve relationships that don't serve you anymore. I don't think it's super, super normal to have lifelong relationships. It's pretty rare. And if you do have that and it's healthy, you're so lucky, and you should hold that person near and dear and tell them that they've earned a seat at your table. But if people are making you feel confused or shameful around saying how you would prefer to be treated, it's your life. And I don't want someone else playing the star in the movie that is your life. I want nothing more for both of us than to find healthy relationships where people meet us where we're at and meet us with curiosity when we say we have hurt feelings. So that is DARVO. It stands for deny, accuse, reverse, victim, offend. And once you see it, you can't unsee it, but you're welcome, because this has transformed my life for the better. So thank you for listening. I hope this helped you. Send me a message on LinkedIn or leave a comment if you're watching on YouTube. And I'd love to know what your biggest takeaway was and how this helped you.